Magyanatiminandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Shakshun Militam Jine Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Everybody who is following strictly the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a spiritual master of some kind, either a Shiksha Guru or a Diksha Guru. And as such, they usually have their following. They have their group of people who are very attached to them and who do things, conduct activities with their connection. So by the physical laws of this world, we cannot stick out together for too long. We have to go into all directions. And it is our job to plant the seeds of bhakti. If you don't know what that is, then you can distribute the books. Each book is a seed of bhakti. When you distribute them, it may bring about the spiritual awakening in somebody else. That is quite common. It's the nature of seeds. If they come on fertile ground, they fructify. And a new plant is born. So if somebody comes and listens to Lord Chaitanya, if somebody comes and falls in love with the Lord Chaitanya, then we gained a new friend for our life. A friend for life is not easy to find. People in this world are not very friendly with each other in general. Even the parents and the children are fighting frequently. Even the husbands and wife often don't get along. The business partners fight over money and split up the business. And the friends are lost when they go other countries, other places. If you're lucky, you meet them again, or you hear from them again. The nature of this world. Spiritual emotions. They're the gift of Krishna. Krishna has given us the ability to feel emotions. How strong are they? How important are they for you? How much do they mark? How much do they mark a difference in your life? Like when you get very emotional about a particular person in the world of emotion, you may get married. and spend the rest of your life with a person. So we cannot deny that emotions have an important influence on our lives. But material emotions are always challenged by egotism. Where spiritual emotions, they do not have this drawback. So a spiritual emotion, it can bring you from dismay of separation to the joy of union as a continuous flow. And with one eye you cry, with one side you smile. That's the energy which comes from Krishna himself. That's why I was reading this to you, so you get a feeling of this. What are the feelings of the devotees described in Bhakti Ratnaka? It's just after the disappearance of Mahaprabhu. Can you imagine? Everybody was crazy. Mahaprabhu's gone, he has withdrawn from his visible past. But then they saw, oh, you knew him. Oh, you met Rupa Goswami. Oh, you just come from Vrindavan. How's Jiva Goswami? And hug each other and faint. And then they talk about what has to be done. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't go and leave us without service. He didn't go away and just told us, now cry for the rest of eternity. Not at all. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, go and distribute the seeds of bhakti everywhere. Go to Manipur. Go here, go there. Mahaprabhu himself, he had gone to Prakashananda Saraswati. He himself had approached so many people who were averse to bhakti. Mahaprabhu ignited them. After Mahaprabhu ignited them, can you imagine? Can you imagine what feelings all of them had? You met Mahaprabhu, you fell in love with him. You know, I can't talk about that because I have not met Mahaprabhu yet. Except in his beautiful deity form and in his biographies, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat. But I did meet Srila Prabhupada. And I did meet Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And living without them is very painful. Extremely painful. And once in a while we meet a brother and a sister who feels the same sincerely. And then we can hug each other and say, do you remember when Guru Maharaj called us that day and told us to go and to make his books and to print them in German language? Do you remember that day we gave the first German book to him? Do you remember this? Do you remember Krishna Mai Didi? But just I was with a very, very nice person in Mayapur. She's a very dear friend of mine, and she just became the first woman to become an initiating spiritual master in the Gaudiya Math. Her name is Pratima. Didima, Guruma, Pishima. There's so many sweet words for the senior. But Guruma. So Pratima, she's my neighbor. Because she lives in the Gaur Gadada Mandir, which was started by Bhakti Alok Paramahansa. Bhakti Alok Paramahansa is also connected to me. So that's very puffed up way of saying, I received sannyas on the day of the disappearance of Bhakti Paramahansa Maharaj. And so Srila Maharaj told me that he gave me the Bhakti Alok in memory of Bhakti Alok Paramahansa Maharaj. So at that time I wasn't his neighbor. I may have seen Paramahansa Maharaj, but I can't recall it because he left. When he left, he know that Pratima was a very sincere Vaishnavi. As a matter of fact, she never got married in her life, even though she's a very good-looking person. She was so attached to the feet of Paramahansa Maharaj that she was always serving him. Then after Paramahansa Maharaj was leaving, or before he was leaving, he told her, you should continue this mission, because in that mission she was an outstanding servant. Which happens. Who is the outstanding servant? It doesn't matter, woman, man, or whatever. So, but Pratima was not feeling that she could do so. Later, she was very close to Srila Maharaj also, because Paramahansa Maharaj had taken sannyas from Srila Maharaj. So Srila Maharaj's pictures also in their temple. So Srila Maharaj told Pratima, you have to accept disciples if you want the temple to go. But Pratima just got some brahmacharis to help her. And so on, the years went on and on. You know, Srila Maharaj is gone for a long time, since 1988. 24 years ago, Guru Maharaj left. 24 years ago. It's unthinkable. It's unthinkable to live spiritual life 24 years in separation from your Guru. I'm lucky because I always keep meeting those people who met him and being involved there. And Pratima is one of those dearmost friends. So I went to her temple because our temple, the Jana Vikunja Gaudiya, is right behind the Paramahansa Maharaj Mat. We are not on the main road. We just have a small alley entering to go to the temple. But we have the advantage to be on the bank of Ganges. So, whatever. Krishna has made his special arrangements. And our Prishni, Mohini's sister, she's in charge there now. She's looking after. Of course, now there's a Chilean devotee named Dinabandhu, a very great yogi from the mountains of Ushumachi, Koroiko, the sacred mount of the Aymaras, where he started the mandir, the farm there. He lived there for years. So now he's in India, in Mayapur, Dinabandhu. So then I went to the temple, and Pishima, Pratima, she took me to one tree on their land. And that tree is an unbelievable tree, very high. And she said, under this tree, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur sat down every time when he came to Mayapur over the river. And it is a special wood producing fruits all over, and it's a special wood which can be utilized for Agnihotras. So then we looked at it and we decided to make a Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur memorial there. So Hanuman came from our Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati band of Calcutta, and we made a very nice structure with bamboo and straw at the feet, and we made a marble path, just simple pieces, not put in cement, setting all around in a walkway from the deities there, because it's situated right in the middle of their plot, which is a very big plot. So Pratima then asked me, what shall I do? He said, we have so little servants here in this temple. And then I said, well, you have to accept some disciples. If you don't accept any disciples, how will you get servants to help you? And Pratima looked at me and said, same thing my guru said, same thing Srila Maharaj said. I didn't do it. Oh, I said, you're so naughty. If your guru taught you and Srila Maharaj told you you're not doing, what is this? And then Pratima said, okay, by your order I will do. So next day was Guru Purnima, and Pratima initiated her first disciples who had been waiting there to take shelter. And they were so happy, you cannot believe it. They came to our temple dancing with Pratima, and Pratima gave a nice class in the Jana Vikunja Gaudiya Math. That day she accepted her first disciples. And for me it was so delightful to see another Janava Devi. Of course nobody would like, if anybody compares me to Prabhupada, I would want to go and hide in a cave and never come out again from there. So if she would hear that I'm comparing her to Janava Devi, she would react the same. Never. Very, very humble demeanor, but a very realized. When you see her, she's effulgent. She's shining. What a special personality is Pratima. And now her temple is. Immediately the next day after Guru Purnima, somebody came and helped her or gave a donation to make a new kitchen for the deities, and everything started blossoming there. Prabhupada's memorial and all that. So we were very happy to have this type of neighbors, you know. And Pratima, I told Prishni to make sure she's always very close to Pratima, so she gets some special mercy there. So this is for me the living Bhakti Ratnakar. And of course, coming and meeting you once a year, or this is also a little bit like this. Because your life is not less important than the life of Pratima, and the Jana Vikunja Gaudiya Math or the Gorgadada Gaudiya Math in Navadvip is not more important than our program in Bad Homburg of spreading and planting seeds of bhakti in the heart of the people there. You see, there are no relativities in here. We should not, and there's no reason to relativize, except ourselves. Ourselves we can relativize. That is a natural thing. Like Krishna Das Kaviraj, he said, Jagai Matai Hoite Muni Se Papishta. Purishera Kita Hoite Muni Se Lagishta. That's what his estimation of himself, of Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, who we revere as one of the greatest souls, and who was the spiritual master. And his temple of Radha Vrindavan Chandra is now a library right in front of Sevakunja. So he was one of these outstanding movers, personalities in our Sampradaya. But what was his description of himself? He says, I am lower than the worm in the stool, and I am more sinful than Jagai and Madai. That was his description of himself. So there is an ambiguity. There is a true abysm, like a huge space between how a devotee sees other devotees and how a devotee looks upon himself. It's like so surprising, because in a material world it's rather the opposite. You always try to figure out how you end up on the top, so you can look down on the others. And when you look down on the others, you feel, oh, I'm high. The Vaishnavas, they look up to the others. Oh, all these great souls who have come to this Mela, all these wonderful Vaishnavas, been vegetarians for 30 years, 40 years, have chanted the names of Krishna, have realized that they're eternal souls. Wow! And I can meet them in Neusamit another time. The preachers from the Pushta of Hungary going to the jails and streets, no? To meet the devotees from Poland, our Srida Maharaj, and so many other personalities which I could all mention here, but then it would take a long time, like Vrindavaneshwar from Rome, Vishnu Priyasham, Italy Ki Jai. Oh, and Lakshmi, who came from this sacred island, almost in Africa, in Tenerife, where she's igniting people with joy and hope, with her message of love for the nature and the supreme, and the love energy flowing inside of everybody. And she come here, all the way to Neusamit, to get more ideas. So this is the spirit of Mahaprabhu. Our concept of the others must be very high, unless you see somebody doing something very bad. If somebody's doing something very bad, you don't have to think very high of him. It's not a foolish thing. It's Vaishnavism. But don't forget, in Vaishnavism somebody may have done something bad. There is redemption. There is mercy. There's a new start. So don't think, oh, he made this mistake, he made that mistake. I know 10 years ago he didn't come to class. And you find a mistake with everybody and you say, yes, that's why I'm the best of the devotees here. This is exactly the opposite how we should watch ourselves and others. But still, I'm not sentimental, so if somebody's doing something wrong, then it is also wrong. And we try, like in my own service life, it goes like this. Sometimes people come to me, they're very upset with another person. And they want me to be upset also against that person, almost instantly. And because they're emotionally aggravated, angry, frustrated, whatever may be so, then I have to say, wait, first of all, I have to verify very cautiously whether what you think he did wrong was really wrong. then I have to analyze, why did he commit that wrong thing? And when I am convinced that he committed something wrong, and I can understand why he committed something wrong, then my job starts to lift him up again. So my attitude towards the failures of XYZ is completely different, because in that sense I'm not like aggravated emotionally against one or the other. I know this is like the rubbing of the bamboos. You know, nobody in the world likes a forest fire, but the forest fire comes in the wind and the rubbing of the bamboos. They are like two bamboos are sitting there, staying there, and the wind always, until it gets so hot in a hot climate, and boom, it ignites. And many fires start like that. And you know, forest fires, sometimes they can be devastating. They can destroy thousands of hectares of land full of forest and this. So the rubbing on each other in community life, it does sometimes produce some unpalatable circumstance. Like children, they're fighting sometimes. Gupta, your kids fighting with each other? Look at that. I mean, Gupta, such a nice devotee, her husband, nice. They have always good prasadam at home, but still the children manage to fight. So this is what I'm talking about. They have no reason to fight. They're both two lovely boys, but it's just like happening like this. This brushing, this rupture or the friction of two people very closely associated, and the egos and all this. Your children fight? Also, two saintly boys. Sometimes. So if that's happening there, don't be surprised if it happens in temples where people are not of the same family. One is 10 years there, another one is just 10 days there. It is all, and they're sharing everything, and it's monumentous. It's actually an ashram community is quite a manifestation of grace. I mean, if you want it clear, like one devotee told me yesterday, living with 100 people in one ashram, that's not my package which I can live with. He said, well, I know what it is. I solved my problem. I can tell you the trick. Because living with brahmacharis in the brahmachari ashrams, it's not just as bad in the Vishnupriya ashram, because ladies are a little bit more organized, fortunately, but brahmacharis, it's very close to Sodom and Gomorrah. It is so horrible that it's very difficult to describe it. You actually have to film it to believe it. So to live in such a place, it is almost intolerable. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur recommends, anyhow, please tolerate. So it's a question of training, you know. You have to get trained to do things better and better. Now I tell you what was my solution. I moved out from the brahmachari ashram and I moved into the office. From the very beginning, I didn't sleep in those rooms, they were too much. But I kept my sleeping bag hiding somewhere, and at the time of sleeping, I came out and lay down in the office, which could not look so messy all day, you know? Because it's like the office. Anyhow, so this was my way of surviving that situation. I still live in my office, by the way, you know? And nothing has changed. And I don't mind to share my office with others who can tolerate to sleep with me. Which is not easy, because I snore. Because to overpower the snoring, I put Prabhupada there. So it doesn't sound that bad, like an old bear snoring away. So anyhow, if they can tolerate to sleep in the same room, it's okay with me. But as soon as they get up, they got to get out with their towel, with their Brahmin underwear, with their sleeping bag. I don't want to see it. If they can't accept that, I don't want them to come and sleep. So in other words, our acharyas, they knew everything, you know, and it wasn't much difference. When I visited the brahmachari ashram in Navadvip, in Srila Sridhar Maharaj's ashram. Of course, at that time we already had a few guest rooms and it was a little bit more decent for the visitors. But of course I went to the brahmachari ashram curious what it looks like in India, in Chaitanya Saraswati. So I walked in there and Krishna Charan, Hari Charan, the senior great pure devotees who were living there. And then what struck me first was a picture on the wall of Pishima. A picture of the sister of Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. I wondered how a brahmachari ashram in India gets a picture on the wall of Prabhupada's sister. I mean, she's a lady, she's a pure devotee, she's disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, second initiation of Bhaktisiddhanta Swami Maharaj. But how does she get on the wall in the brahmachari ashram? I was curious, and so I was asking, what about her? And the brahmacharis, they said, oh, she's very dear to Srila Srila. So then I could see, you better be careful not to be a fanatic, you know. Sometimes, the other day, oh yeah, I met a lady in the airport. She was on the same flight coming to London. Listen to that, it was amazing. She joined Prabhupada's movement just a few months before Prabhupada left this planet. So she was my god sister, but she never lived in ISKCON temple or anything more than a few months in the beginning. She always been managing her life other ways. So she was in the same flight and she identified herself. I saw her with the tilak. And so we had an hour to talk and I listened to her story and everything. And she said, Maharaj, I don't know this. I'm 30 years with the devotees, the first time a sannyasi talked to me. I don't know, you know, some brahmacharis, some sannyasis, they don't understand that we are not this body. And they don't get it right. So why do I say this now? That you never be one of them who's like stupid, external, superficial, not friendly, with any of the devotee ladies or devotee boys. This is not this. We have to be a real family. Of course, like Srila Prabhupada said, we like to have them together, but not like mixed up, you know. In Spanish we say juntos pero no revueltos. And so a little respect should be there. But the powerful female energy from Krishna consciousness is a very great asset. It's our mothers. They are our sacred mothers, and that's in India. That's the spirit. Women are sacred. They don't represent the negativity of the potential Maya energy. Of course, sometimes in the scripture it is spoken about the female capacity as a Maya energy. That is there, of course. No, but it's just like if I call every man I meet Kamsa. This is not every man is Kamsa, you know. So the understanding of the female energy in the Vaishnavas, and what to speak about God's sisters and daughters, they are sacred. Now if the woman says, hey, I'm sacred, why you behave like an idiot? Then there's a little mistake there, because she said, my God sisters are so sacred. I'm just like Jagai Madai. You see, it's again, very careful one has to be, not to fall into the ditch of going out in pride because of the deficiency of others, because it's not helpful for me, for myself. I'm a little proud. Actually, I'm very proud, and it shouldn't be, get over my head, but I'm a little proud when I hear people glorifying our disciples. Actually, our disciples and Prabhupada's and Srila Sridhar Maharaj's children. That's number one and foremost. I'm not a Ritvik in a sense. I know that I believe that's necessary, somebody takes charge. But, you know, the grandchildren, they're more children of the father than they're his own children. So there's no difference. There's an absolute intimacy between those who have come to my family and my gurus. They belong to my guru. I'm just looking after them. That's the reality. So, anyhow, if somebody tells me that my disciples are well behaved, that the women are happy, and that they're spreading Krishna consciousness, and that they are friendly with devotees of other missions as well, well, then I become a little proud. It's very nice. If I hear the opposite, that's not at all charming. No? So, in a way, we have to learn these things. We have to learn to be the real gentleman in spiritual life. Very dedicated, very clean, well behaved, not getting angry with each other ever. If we do get angry, then we go to a senior devotee and ask, excuse me, pull my ear, put me on my place. Because if the ashram atmospheres become some atmosphere of nasty relationships, not wanted. Not everybody's fit to live in an ashram. You can only live in an ashram if you're contributing to make it more beautiful and more lively. Of course, devotees, if you're neophyte, they can pull you along. But you have to allow to be pulled along. So in this way, it's a learning experience. Like, my personal conclusion on ashram life is the following. I've also said that many times, but just to... There's no more terrible place to live than an ashram. But I haven't found any better place either. So that's why I'm living in an ashram for 40 years. Why is it horrible? Well, it's horrible to be surrounded by struggling people to overcome their ego. So that sometimes is horrible, no? But that's horrible everywhere. When I hear Jivanuga talk about his job, immediately I think, well, that's more horrible than the ashram. I better tolerate my ashram, otherwise I have to get a job. So like that, I mean, I'm sorry if I'm a little bit personal with the examples, but it's like to keep it out of life, no? Reality show. No? So, what to do? Living with others? As I say, it's the most horrible thing to live in an ashram, and I haven't found anything better than it. So, you see, there's a down part and an up part simultaneously. Now it's up to you to choose which side to take. If you say it's horrible, then you move out and you have to face life in a different way. If you say it's the best thing I found, then you stick with it and stick it out and do things like like our Vishnu Priya ashrams. Actually, our Vishnu Priya ashrams, believe it what I say now, you'll be surprised what I say now. Our Vishnu Priya ashrams, they defy Chanakya Pandit. Chanakya Pandit has said things like women are very difficult to live together or to do anything together. He has said things like that. I've had the experience in our Vishnu Priya ashram that some of them, they love each other so much. They give so much help to each other. They have done such wonderful things like Vishnu Priya ashram in Valparaiso. It's a thriving ashram. There's always new ladies coming, becoming devotees and very inspired. And there's many. I just mentioned that as one. And nowadays, when I started Vishnu Priya ashrams, that was around maybe 20 years back. But nowadays, our Vishnu Priya ashrams already have traditions. And the overall outcome or the overall impression of those is that it's not always easy. Why should it be? Brahmachari ashrams are never easy. So why should it be easy? But it's very productive, very creative, and women have lived together, some of them for 20 years, and they're still living together and loving each other. So I think we'll send a report to Chanakya Pandit. Or we send a report to the Guinness Book of Records. Because if people can live together for 10, 15 years, loving each other, helping each other, then there's nothing negative you can say about it whatsoever. It's amazing. Very beautiful. Now, many people, they don't want to live in a Vishnu Priya ashram, or they don't want to live in a Brahmachari ashram for the simple and single reason because they want to get married. But that's nothing wrong about that. That's the most natural thing in the world. And then, if they want to get married, that's maybe one of the reasons why they don't feel that ecstatic there, because they have a strong longing in their heart for finding a partner, which they may find or they may not find according to the sweet will of Krishna. But this has nothing to do with it, because when you don't have a partner, the Vishnu Priya ashram is the 90% value added place of benefit towards any other place in the world for a single girl. Because a single girl without other girls associating, it's tough. It's a very tough world when the women don't have a particular man who looks after them. Father, elder son, or somebody. If a woman has nobody who's giving any help to her, any support, any love, any concern of her, a woman out on her own in this world, even for 8 hours or 10 hours I'm talking, you know, it's very tough. That's why the scriptures say that women should always be protected. They should always have somebody who gives support to them, who they can lean on to, and who likes them and who cares for them. That's very important. As a matter of fact, it's not only important for women, it's important for men as well. Otherwise, why would men want to get married? They also want to lean on to somebody. They also want to feel that support. So besides that, if children are coming, this is the only way you have a nice environment. No? So all this together shows the importance of the Vishnu Priya ashrams. So important. Such a treasure. And so are the Brahmacharya ashrams. They are places, they are treasures. But with all the hardship added, without dreaming of Brahmacharya ashrams where everything is organized. I remember when I was in internat, that's a boarding school, that was like a military. They would come in the room, the supervisors, and they would go like this. Dust. 1 hour garden work. Well, they had like different chastisements for anything. They would open your locker. If not every shirt you had wasn't just on line on top of each other. They would just pull it out, say 1 hour reception. And they would go on, and you had to do it. It was a boarding school, it was very heavy. Because every student, besides studying, had to do some practical services, and those who were, any mistake was found in you, you were getting extra. So, in a sense, you know, it trained me up a little bit. So after that, the Brahmacharya ashram is even more of a torture. Anyhow, Krishna consciousness is all about humility and kindness. Humility and kindness, that's the biggest mantra you always have to preserve in practical life. Be humble and be kind. Even be humble when others are puffed up, and even be kind when others misbehave. That is the accomplishment, to be humble and kind when everybody else is humble. You know, like sometimes too humbly devotees, they're going, please you sit on this. No, 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 not me. You can sit on this. No, 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 please you. You can see them like pushing back the cushion 10 times. Oh, they're so humble. Yeah? You get almost an emotional attack when you see it. You know? Or they're kind with each other. You know? Prabhu, this gulab jamun is for you. Yes, yes, Prabhu, and this is the samosa for you. Dadati pratigrinati guyamakyati prichati. No, you go, wow. Yeah, then it's easy to be kind when everybody is kind with you, no? But what if there's no more samosa, they ate all of them? And you say, I'm hungry. Your karma, Prabhu. So, I mean, you have to be kind when things get tough. Then it's a question of kindness, you know? Huh? Otherwise, the whole thing is meaningless, no? just having a good time. So, in a sense, we are a bit spoiled, no? Because you are also humble and so kind. So we're passing an entire festival here. We don't hear any screams. Nobody runs around really sad or crying. No, we are spoiled. But life doesn't always spoil you. There are moments that are really getting tough. We need those moments when things get tough. In America they say when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. So that's what you have to understand. Spiritual life is meant to test you and train you, to put you right into, like they do with the iron. Iron is hot and they put it in the water. Like in the lake. Get a little bit frozen. so like this, life is there to train you up. So this Mela, to me, is just beautiful. I wish it would go on for another half year. We could make an extension here. Ask them to give us the house. Go and do out Sankirtan in the villages around and all that. But matter of fact is, that's not Krishna's plan. So it won't work. Even though it would be a nice idea, no? Sometimes things are nice ideas, but that doesn't mean they're going to happen. So, but we have so many good ideas, like maybe you come one day to Kartik, because in Kartik sometimes people can spend a whole month with us, seeing all the holy places of Krishna, Braj Mandal Parikrama. And as you know, Vrinda's Braj Mandal Parikrama means Braj Mandal Clinic Experience. Which we're very joyful about, because first of all we clean up a few holy places and give a nice example, and plus if you want to get to know a really a holy place like Raval or like Brahmandagat or like Mansarovar, wow, then you better clean it up. Because then you really get to see all the nooks and corners, the secret shrines and everything. Really nice. It's a little slower than the normal parikrama, but it's worth it. It's a lasting experience. So, and slowly we get a little bit more expert to do it. It's just nice. Just nice. Who knows why Krishna wants us to do that, but it's definitely nice to see a place clean. You know, to see a holy place clean, and you wonder why people are not more organized and why they're not putting their garbage more together, like in a more organized fashion. But then we have to work on that also. That's why we have this thing here, this whole chadar which you see there. We're hanging up in the temples, in the schools of Vrindavan in Hindi. That's not the Hindi one, obviously, it's the Spanish one. Here got the English one. So this was a major project of the Braj Vrindavan Heritage Alliance, which is an organization which invites all the Vrindavan organizations to take part of the improvement of Vrindavan. All of them. So rather than, because that's what's necessary, joint efforts, not certain things. We were supposed to make a Safai Kram in February. It failed because it was put on the same day they had the elections, and then on election day nobody can come out for cleaning, so it failed, but we'll do it a little later. Anyhow, I just want to tell you the quality of life in Krishna consciousness. It depends on all these beautiful people sitting around us here right now. And if you're a real devotee, you should care for each and every one of them so much that you want them to grow spiritually and you want to help them as much as you can. If you have that feeling, wow, then you're very busy, because there's a few people and they're always in need of something. And as they're in need of something, like some experience I've had in South America just over the last 2 years, I don't know anymore where to go, because everywhere the people have heard about our eco-yoga ashrams, and they have become very attracted to that idea of an eco-yoga ashram, and so it has proliferated to the degree that, like, only in Ecuador we have now 7 eco-yoga ashrams, but we have not really been able to take care of them. This is too much work, too much field. Just in one country, 7 eco-yoga ashrams, and of course some of them, their papers are not straightened out yet either, or that, but still something is going on. And these eco-yoga ashrams, they are an indication to me that Srila Prabhupada and Sri Krishna, they really like this, that devotees live in little communities and give a good example. And this enthusiasm which has developed around. Tonight I will present you the DVD of promotion which you can get from Lalita Madhava later. There is one DVD which was just made in South America promoting 25 eco-yoga ashrams you can visit. But it's like that. Even lately, one eco-yoga ashram was donated to us by one indigenous person from the Arhuaco community of Colombia. His name is White Feather. And White Feather has a very wonderful history, because his mother was one of the indigenous pioneers to kick out the Christians from the indigenous territory, because they were disturbing their local development. There was one Capuchin Christian group that had made a church there, but the indigenous people decided that they didn't like it, what they were doing. So White Feather, he married another Arhuaco, and that lady, she gave him 6 children, I think, 5 or 6, and all of them became devotees. So they became like a big Arhuaco family. And then White Feather, he got from the Arhuacos in their sacred territory in Nabusimake. Nabusimake is a little village which is called where the sun was born. Well, if you see it, either you start crying or can't believe what you're seeing. It's like in the most beautiful Sierra Nevada mountains, Nabusimake is like a retreat. You're like away from civilization. There's no electricity, there's no plastic, there's no cars, the only thing which can go there, the people wear all dress which they make themselves here, like Kishori, she's just making something Arhuaco style. That's how the Arhuacos make their bags, by stitching, and they only wear. I mean, they're living more Gandhi style than anybody in India, you know. I mean, and right there they donated us 3 hectares of land, and we went there and had a meeting with the Arhuaco chiefs, and talking about how we can help each other, how we can cooperate with each other, and it was a nice meeting. So we have an eco-farm there called Prema Sajuna, and that project is under the care of Atika Lindi and her mother, and it's a women ashram, you know. Yeah, the Arwaku women, you know, you should see them, they're unbelievable. And the Prema Sajuna means the seed of love. Prema, love, and Sajuna is seed. So it's a brand new program, and it's in a restricted territory. That means